What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with a mini episode of Under the Radar for you guys. Only two other albums came out during the week of September 2nd that I wanted to talk about due to interest, and the first of those two I'm going to be talking about is the fifth studio album from French-Canadian symphonic folk death metal band Aeternam with Heir of the Rising Sun. So this is a band I had never heard of before. Much like most of the bands you'll hear me talk about throughout Under the Radar's history are mostly going to be bands I had never heard of, such as this. And yeah, this is their fifth album. They're from Canada, I think from Quebec City. And yeah, symphonic folky death metal, which is an interesting mixture. So because I saw on Metal Archives that they had this three-way mix, I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give this band a shot and see what I think. And boy, I was kind of surprised. Like, the death metal that they're going for on here is kind of like mostly melodic death metal, like say Arch Enemy or Children of Bodom, maybe even a little bit of Hypocrisy. Like, it's that kind of death metal. It's like a good balance between like being brutal but being very melodic. And the symphonic aspect is mostly to embellish that death metal influence. And then the folk instrumentation that you get, especially in the final track, which was like over 10 minutes. What the hell was that song called? The Fall of Constantinople. That was a really cool track because it basically mixed everything this album had to offer with brutality, melody, beauty, orchestral epicness, and folky weirdness, so to speak. And the production on this album was actually pretty well done. Like, everything was mixed really well. I do wish the bass could have come out a little bit more, which tends to be an issue with a lot of albums as of late, but that's neither here nor there. But also, I forgot the clean vocals that you get on this album were pretty exceptional as well. So pretty much vocal performance wise, in the cleans, the screams, and the growls, really well done. The vocalist, kudos to you. Overall, this was a really enjoyable listen. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10 simply because maybe the symphonic aspect was done a little too much for my taste, but it's nitpicking at this point, but still, really good album, highly recommended. And now for the last album that I'm talking about for this week's Under the Radar, and it is a debut from a new band from Italy called In Grief, with an album titled An Eternity of Misery. So this band formed out of Italy in 2020, so interesting time to form a band. Ugh. But, yeah, and these guys are a Death Doom act out of Italy, and when I saw that this was a Death Doom band, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be either the traditional Death Doom or the melodic Death Doom. And this album, for the most part, is in that melodic Death Doom spectrum, but there are moments of, like, traditional Death Doom of bands like Asphyx, here and there, and maybe even a little touch of, like, Hooded Menace at times. There's even a couple of moments on this album where it got into like a bit of like a Celtic Frost groove, which was really cool. But the thing that surprised me the most about this album was the production. The production was masterfully done. And also, call me crazy here, but sonically, when it came down to production and the tones, kind of reminded me a little bit of Death Symbolic a little bit, like in the drum tones, the guitar tones. So this album almost sounds like if Death went Death Doom, and this was something that they would have done around 95 out of Morrisound. Vocally, it's very much in the vein of Nick Holmes from Paradise Lost and Bloodbath. So it's got that like more aggressive, creepier kind of style. But yeah, musically, very much melodic. There's a lot of beautiful acoustic guitars going on throughout. But there are some really heavy riffs on here, including in the song, I believe it's called Queen of Babylon? Yeah, Queen of Babylon. That was probably my favorite song of the album, because it sounds so much different. It sounds so different from the rest of the album. It's a little heavier, a little more aggressive, but everything else, it's somber, it's melodic, it's beautiful, it's fantastic. Though the only complaint I would have is that a couple of the songs I felt kind of dragged a little bit, and also perhaps they tried to do too much for their debut, but of course that's just me personally. Maybe if this album would have been cut down to like 7 songs, if they would have taken a few tracks off that I wasn't the biggest fan of, I think this album would have gone even higher in the score. But overall, can't complain, it's a debut. I give it an 8.5 out of 10 as well. Really good potential, and I hope that this band continues, because these guys, I think, have potential to really break out and kind of get onto that level of a band like Swallow the Sun or November's Doom in terms of that more melodic Death Doom sound. But that does it for this week's Under the Radar. Yeah, short and sweet because there were only 2 other albums. Next week, however, we've got 2 episodes to do because there's a shit ton coming out on the 9th. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Horns high. See you guys later.
What the heck is fellatio?
Cole, out of all the people in here, you should know what that is.
Every time I'm soft, I'm supposed to try to dab a shine.
Is it a new way to torture
It's getting a
people?
little too friendly.
No! Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Wait, so fellatio is stimulation of the penis? Really?
Thanks for letting me do that. I might pick that part.
Cole. It's another name for a blowjob.
Okay. Every time I'm...
It's a deep throat blowjob.
Alright, here we go. Okay.
Moving on.
Sounds like Carson's getting one right now.
God damn!
This game has gone to hell.